Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys. All right, let me pull up the presentation. We're going to jump right into the information as I know you guys have been waiting to jump on here. Let me just pull my slides up and then we're going to go ahead and get started. In just a quick second. Pull this up here. Right. All right. If you guys can see my screen, give me a thumbs up. Charles, give me a thumbs up. All right. Awesome, brother. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, awesome, awesome. Appreciate you guys. I am going to go ahead and mute the lines out for now just so that we don't get feedback and I can go ahead and start this presentation. Once again, I appreciate your patience. If you're one of our guests, if you could do me a favor and drop your name as well as who invited you in the chat. That way we can welcome you to our Zoom. We definitely appreciate you all jumping on here. Definitely want to thank whoever invited you out. It just means that they cared enough about you to want to share some important information with you. And it's my job, family, simply to share what was shared with me about 10 years ago. So we're going to talk about your opportunity and your independence if you choose to partner with us. Now, let me tell you briefly about myself, just so you know who you're hearing from, which I think is important. Once again, my name is Edmund Hunter. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. That's about an hour and a half south of Phoenix, Arizona. Born and raised here. My background is that of a former college student and an athlete. So growing up, I always wanted to play professional basketball, and I did get a chance to do that on a smaller scale. I played for about 5 years in several different cities in Mexico. Los Mochis, Guaymas, San Carlos, Nogales, and all that was awesome, guys. It was amazing to be able to help, or to, excuse me, to live my dream. But it only lasted for 5 years. So once it was over, it was no longer a viable option for me. I was looking at what I could do next. What did I have a passion for or a skill set to do? And I was very unsure about that as well. So once again, I was at a crossroads in my life. So in the meantime, I started working in the food service industry. Okay, that's just my fancy way of saying that I was a server. Okay, but food service sounds pretty good, right? Hospitality industry. I was a server, I was a bartender, a restaurant manager. That's where I settled in at, working about 60 to 70 hours a week, mostly nights and weekends. And so, if you can imagine, that took away a lot of the time from my family, right? Because I was always at work, especially if I was working a Friday night, a Saturday night, or a Sunday night. At midnight, I was missing my son's basketball games. I was going in at 10 o'clock in the morning and sometimes not getting off until 1, 2, or 3 o'clock the next morning. And so, even though I love the hustle and bustle of the food service industry, the team camaraderie, training the servers, bartenders, and most of the managers, what I didn't like was those hours because it wasn't conducive once again. So I needed something to change. I needed a new opportunity. I just was unsure what that was going to be until a friend of mine shared this opportunity with me that I'm now going to share with you all, and it changed everything. It allowed me to start dreaming big again. The things that I once wanted, like to travel the world one day, buy my parents their dream home, to retire my mother, to be a present father. I saw those things being possible all because there was a system in place. There was coaching, there was mentorship. It meant that I didn't need to be great to get started. I just needed to get started to become great. It allowed me to hit the ground running, to be coachable. And since then, family, it's allowed me to earn multiple six figures working from home. It's allowed me to help other people to do the same. And I don't say any of that to brag or boast or to impress upon you, or excuse me, to impress you, but to impress upon you what is possible through this opportunity I'm now going to share with you all. So, with that being said, guys, let's jump right into this, okay? We know that the world has forever changed, right? Especially since the pandemic. People are looking for more income, more time, more flexibility, more independence. Would you all agree with me on that? It's just really hard to have all four of those things with one job because there's a trade-off of time for money. You got to go to work to get paid. If you're not at work, you're not what? Getting paid. What happens if you don't go to work for like 3 days in a row? You get fired, right? Y'all know some of y'all been fired too. All right, absolutely. And so in these uncertain times, it's important to have some sort of a backup plan. And in fact, 70% of Americans are looking for a backup plan, a side gig, a side hustle, a side business, whatever you want to call it, guys. You want to make sure this opportunity is backed by an outstanding, or excuse me, a company with outstanding products and services with opportunities for compensation. You want to make sure that there's a system in place. For all my note takers, guys, write this down. A system in place, not just an idea. Why? Because systems produce wealth. And you want to make sure that these systems have produced the type of results that you desire and they've done it over a long period of time. Lastly, you want to have a community of leaders, mentors, big thinkers, people that are already paved the way and are willing to show you how to go the way. So that's what we found here with this phenomenal opportunity called Legal Shield, okay? Also known as PPLSI. Write that down if you're taking notes. All right, that's our company's corporate name, Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated, but also known as Legal Shield, because that's our flagship program. We were established in 1972. So not here today, gone tomorrow, not a flash in the pan or a get rich quick, guys. We've been around for 53 years. We'll be around for another 53. We have stood the test of time. Today, we protect and empower approximately 4.5 million lives all across the US and Canada with our services. Our vision is to provide equal access to the liberty, equality, opportunity, and justice that every human deserves and should be able to expect. I just know that most people don't expect it. Right? My grandfather that helped to raise me used to always say, son, you're likely going to have to work twice as hard to have the same opportunities, to have the same access as others. Right? Any of y'all have the same grandpa? Right? You know what I'm talking about. That's how most of us were raised. And with that being said, to be with a company whose vision was to provide equal access to everyone, that was something I could get behind, right? Everyone, not just a certain group of people, right? Not just a certain demographic, not a certain race, not a certain religion, but everyone, guys. That's the company that you guys are taking a look at. We've been featured in Forbes, Yahoo Finance, CNBC, as well as Bloomberg. So if you want to do your due diligence or your research, look us up in those publications. Now, I'm going to talk to you briefly about disruptive innovation so you can see that Legal Shield fits right along with the trends of today's society, where you take an existing business model, make it simpler, easier, and more affordable. So if you think about shopping at the mall, we still do it from time to time, just not as much because now we have Amazon. It's simpler, it's easier, it's more affordable. Agreed? Right? No one questions why you use Amazon. Okay. You now instead of buying CDs, right? We have Spotify, we have Apple Music. It just makes sense. In fact, your car likely doesn't even have a CD player in it anymore if it's newer because of the new platforms. No one questions why you use Bluetooth devices. It just makes sense. What about maybe let's say I'm trying to think of another example like how maybe Uber and Lyft disrupted the transportation industry, right? You don't call it taxi cab. Maybe if you live in New York or something like that, right? Same way that Netflix and Hulu disrupted the video rental industry. We don't go to Blockbuster anymore. No one questions why, because the new system makes too much sense. So, what about getting access to the justice system? Would you all agree with me that no one equates simple, easy, or affordable with getting access to their rights with using an attorney? No, they think of difficult, they think of expensive, they think of being in trouble. And in fact, most people have been priced out of the justice system because the color of justice isn't black or white, it's green. You can have about as much justice as you can afford. And with that being said, what if I told you that there is now a mobile app that you could put in the palm of your hand, and instead of having an attorney, a list of attorneys, you have entire law firms. So that anytime you have questions or concerns, anytime you have a life event, you could tap the app and not worry about having to pay two, three, or $400 an hour to talk to an attorney. Wouldn't that be disruptive innovation? Right? Giving you a new system that everyone could participate in. But you may be thinking to yourself, just like I was several years ago, look, I'm not a criminal. I'm not a bad person. What would I even need a legal app for? But if you've ever thought about getting your will prepared or updated, if you've ever been notified your personal information was compromised, maybe you're treated unfairly, overcharged for something, or you asked to speak to a manager or a supervisor, you were a victim of a data breach or identity theft, you signed a contract or document and then you regretted it later on, like a gym membership, right? A timeshare. Anyone ever get looped into one of those, right? A marriage certificate. You know what I'm talking about. It says till death do you part, right? But usually they put it in the fine print, so you got to read it. Make sure you know what that one says and what it means. What about traffic tickets or having an insurance claim that was denied? Do you see how none of these bullet points are talking about bad people doing worse things? It just means that bad things do happen to good people too. And when these things happen, typically, what do? I had someone ask me earlier today, what about Chat GPT, right? Because they Chat GPT all of their life events. You play Google Lawyer, you try to figure it out on your own. You're calling a friend. No, instead, you should call an attorney because that's what wealthy people do, right? Because it helps them to make better quality decisions. I saw an article that said that the middle class was going, or excuse me, the middle class was going away. And the reason they were saying so was because the rich and the wealthy have access to attorneys that help them to make better quality decisions, whereas the middle class, right, and the lower class, they don't have access to attorneys. They don't have access to those resources. So they have to wing their decisions, thereby sometimes making worse decisions, which puts them in debt, which has them losing assets, making incorrect decisions. And so now, what if I told you that once again, in the palm of your hand, everyone could have access? I want everybody to say this with me in your head. Say, tap that app, right? I said app, guys. I saw a couple of your faces. tap that app. I didn't say the other. Okay. Don't leave this presentation saying that Mr. Hunter was talking crazy on the Zoom. Guys, in the palm of your hand, guys, you could tap an app, get an attorney on the phone. You get personal legal advice on an unlimited number of issues. Doesn't matter whether it's big or small, trivial or traumatic, whether you call once a day, 10 times a day, or 10 times a month, you have access. If you had a real estate question, you get a real estate attorney. A tax question, tax attorney. A consumer complaint, you get a consumer law attorney. That's huge. See, because if you don't know your rights, you don't have any. And now we're putting in the palm of your hand access so you can find out what your rights are. What if I told you that you could feel like every decision you were making moving forward was the right one? How would that make you feel? Empowered, right? See, we did a study that said that 60% of Americans said if they just knew that something like this existed, they'd be interested in having it. So we know that this is important, but most don't even know that this exists. You also can have letters and phone calls that are written and made on your behalf, contract and document review up to 25 pages. I had a letter written on my behalf because there were some things that were on my credit that I didn't think should be there. It was holding me back from, being able to get a new car, to be able to move into a new home, all the things that I wanted. And so I needed these things removed. So what did I do? Tap the app. I talked to the attorney. It didn't cost me anything to be able to speak to him because we had unlimited consultation and advice. They ended up having me send the credit report. Why? Because they could review contracts and documents. After reviewing it, they saw that there were 4 items that shouldn't be there. They wrote a letter to the credit repositories on my behalf. And what happened? They got removed. This was in 2020. It helped my credit to go up like 40 some points, right? Pretty great to be able to have access to that. You also have family domestic services. After a 180-day waiting period, any uncontested divorce, adoption, separation, and name change will be covered in your services. All right. Your will, living will, healthcare power of attorney, and financial power of attorney. We know that 7 out of 10 Americans don't have one. 9 out of 10 minorities don't have one, but 10 out of 10 of us are going to need one day. So when my grandmother passed away in 2017, yep, KT, I see you clapping your hands. Thank you on that. Look, I'm excited about it. Why? Because when my grandmother passed away in 2017, there was no will in place. So because one person in our family disputed what would happen with the family home, it ended up having to go into probate. We ended up losing the family home that all the grandchildren were raised in, even though we knew exactly what my nana wanted to have done with that home. So guys, we have to have this done. Sometimes you think, look, I don't have a home that I own. I don't have any assets. I don't have a lot of money. I don't need a will. Guys, what happens if something happens to you and you have children? The state decides where your children go. Don't put that on your family. What if you don't have a living will and you get sick, you're incapacitated, can't make decisions for yourself? Do you want to leave that to your family to decide? Do you want to leave that to the doctors to decide? No. You want to have access, and Legal Shield prepares this for you and your spouse or domestic partner at no out-of-pocket cost. They give this to you as a thank you for becoming a member. That's $1,000 to $1,500 savings right there alone. Traffic ticket assistance for moving violations. If you get any traffic tickets, you now have attorneys. There's two main objectives here. You have an attorney that can go to court with you or for you as long as you're properly licensed, insured, and registered. They'll look to get the ticket dismissed if it's possible, if there's any technicalities or loopholes. But the main thing is let's keep the points off your license so your insurance rates don't go up because we pay enough for car insurance as it is. Would you all agree? You get online notarizations up to 5 per membership year. You get e-signature, which will be unlimited, civil trial defense for any covered situations, IRS audit assistance if you're ever named in an audit. You get a tax attorney. 24/7 emergency protection if you're ever questioned, detained, or arrested. Child protective services threatens to take your children from your home, you're injured in an accident, or served with a warrant for your arrest. You have access 24/7. So whether it's a weekend or a holiday, 12 o'clock at night, our attorneys keep pagers on them just like doctors do. You also get a 25% preferred member discount. These are for the blue moon scenarios like a complicated divorce, a bankruptcy, a criminal charge, a DUI, everything from kidnapping to kid slapping. You know what I'm saying? I don't do the kidnapping part, but the kid slapping, yeah, sometimes I got to get my kids. And I remember when I was young, right? I was at school and the teacher told me, you know, I forget how they were talking to all the kids, but they said, if you ever experienced abuse, you could call 911. So I went home and my dad was disciplining me, and he was told me go get the belt, right? Like don't judge, okay? It's just my family, right? They spoil, spare the rod, spoil the child, right? That's how I was raised. I'm not mad at my dad, but he said go get the belt, and I said, Dad, my teacher told me that if you were to whoop me, you'll go to jail because I'll call 911. My dad said, you know what, son? I'm willing to go to jail over you. How funny. Right. So that kid slapping part, absolutely. If you need an attorney, you're going to get a 25% preferred member discount. So why pay full price for an attorney when you can have the best of the best for the least cost? It's only $37.95 a month to protect you and your entire family, your spouse or domestic partner, your dependent children under the age of 26, living at home, or full-time college students, as well as physically or mentally disabled children that are living at home for the life of the membership. Now you may be thinking, how do you guys do that for 37.95? Am I going to get a brand new attorney or paralegal? Did they pass the bar? Are they at the bar, right? Are they spending time behind bars? No, remember we have 4.5 million lives that we cover. That's how you can now attract the best law firms, and those law firms focus on serving our members rather than billing them because they're already paid in advance. I want to share with you one last story before I move on. Another way that I used the service was because we were moving from one home to another back in 2017. We were renting at the time, and as we moved out of one home to the next, they took part of our security deposit. Has that happened to anyone before? Right? You're trying to get your security deposit and you're like, why didn't you send the whole thing back? They start giving all these different excuses. If you look here at the bottom of the letter, right, you see they charged for October's rent, 36 bucks. I was like, we weren't even living there in October. We moved out in September, right? They charged us for blinds and all exterior paint and all these different things that we already took care of. And so I went back and forth with the property manager. They said there was nothing they could do. So I called my law firm. As you see there, Davis Miles, one of the best law firms in the entire country. They put all the attorneys' names on the letterhead. I didn't have to pay for this letter. And it's a powerful letter, guys. Just a portion of it. It says, on behalf of Mr. Hunter, in accordance with Arizona Residential Tenant Act or Landlord Tenant Act, ARS 33-1301, and specifically ARS 33-1321, he is contesting this claimed amount as a fair and accurate determination of any and all deductions associated with his move. You guys see that? Look, a lot of times I just pull the letter up like this, right? And I try to show it to y'all, but you can barely read it. So I decided I was just going to pull it up and show you on the screen so you know it's real. It went on to say specifically in regards to the charges you claim Mr. Hunter owes, he contends that the following charges are erroneous. I said, I contend that they're erroneous. I don't even know what the word erroneous means, but it sounds good. So they sent that letter to that property manager and went to their legal department. 2 days later, they called me back and they had a check in the mail for the $500 that they owed me because I had rights. If Edmund Hunter tried to write this letter, it wouldn't have sounded this good. Secondly, if I did write that letter the very same way, I don't know that it would have carried the same weight. So I was able to call my pit bull attorneys, flex my legal muscle, and now you can too because you have access to Legal Shield. The second app that I'm going to cover is called ID Shield. We know that criminals don't just want your money anymore, they want your identity. They can do a lot of damage if they get access to your credit score, social security number, passports, driver's license, emails, medical records, everything that makes you you, right? Your entire digital DNA. So you want monitoring and alerts. You want push notifications so you can find out if anything is happening in your good name. But that's what other companies do as well. I get it. Maybe you're saying I've got something through my credit bureau, my credit union. I've got LifeLock. I got something through my bank. That's good. It lets me know that you're aware. You should have something protecting your identity. But what they do is they're a glorified monitoring service. They're going to let you know that you've been a victim. They'll let you know where you've been breached, what numbers you need to call, and work you need to do. You see, we have full service restoration. You see that on the screen there, guys? That simply means you'll be assigned a licensed private investigator that will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to restore your identity back to pre-theft status, the way it was before the thief ever got a hold of it. We give you a $3 million identity fraud protection plan, meaning if you spend any money out of your own pocket due to your identity theft situation, you'll be reimbursed up to $3 million. You have other benefits like Trend Micro. They protect your devices against malware infections. They give you a VPN, a virtual private network. So if you connect to public Wi-Fi, you have an encrypted connection. Thieves can digitally eavesdrop and steal your information. You get a password manager, which acts as a vault around your passwords. Privacy management, meaning we're going to check for any private information that could be breached. So we make sure your private information stays private. And lastly, you get credit counseling and education as long as you pair both the legal and identity theft plan together. Because credit is important. Would you all agree with me on that? Absolutely. But most people think that identity theft is just about credit. That's only 17% of it. But we want to make sure that you're continuing to grow it, that you're building, that you're aware. So as long as you have this, guys, you can pair them together and you have access to that service. If you're covering just yourself as an individual, it's $19.95 a month. If you're covering your family, meaning your spouse or domestic partner, and on this plan, your dependent children under the age of 18, up to 10 dependents and 15 devices for only $34.95. It just made sense to me for myself and my family. I can't put a price on peace of mind. So I definitely signed up, right? Because the services made sense. But where it became a no-brainer was through our member perks because we partner with over 500 retailers that give you exclusive discounts just for being a member. Places like Best Buy, Target, Groupon, Sam's Club, Costco, Verizon, T-Mobile, you name it. Places you're already doing business, you'll now get a discount so you can save more money than this membership even costs on a monthly basis. Guys, it's actually paying you to be a member. It's actually costing you more money to not be a member. So make sure you get with the person that invited you here and get enrolled as a member. Now, My grandmother used to always say, son, if it makes sense, it can likely make dollars. So that's who I'm talking to. All the folks that said that service made sense. If it made sense, it can also make dollars for you. Okay. Now, I know not everybody's for everything and everything's not for everybody, but I got to share this with you because a year from now, the person that invited you here is having tremendous amounts of success. I don't want you to go back to them and say, hey, why'd you tell me all about the membership, but you never told me I could have partnered with you to earn some extra income and help people. So here's the way you get paid, right? Four different ways. Number one, personally enrolling members, anywhere from $80 to over $416 when you personally enroll someone with our membership. Now you may be thinking that sounds like sales to me, and I'm not good at sales. I don't want to do sales. That's okay. Because you could do an invitation, just like the person that invited you here, allow someone else to do the presentation, just like Edmund Hunter is doing for you right now, but you get to take home the compensation. That's how this works because there's a system in place. And inevitably, someone you share this with is going to say, this makes sense. I'm overworked and underpaid, sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to supplement my income. They decide to join your team. Now you get paid like a real estate broker does. Anytime one of their agents sells a home, the broker makes a percentage, right? That's working smarter rather than harder. Everyone understands that system, but for some reason here, they're like, oh, you got to recruit people. That sounds like one of those things. I'm going to show you how it's absolutely not. But you also get residual income. It's where you get paid 10% of the commissions you got paid up front, like royalties in the music industry, like renewals in the insurance industry. You do something one time, but get paid over and over and over again for that thing you did once. See, at my former job, there was nothing I could sell or project I could work on, anything I could do where I could go back to my boss and say, hey, remember how great I did on that project last year? Can you pay me for it again this year? No. Right. In fact, they would have laughed at me. And when I quit my job, they stopped paying me. Can y'all believe it? I used to go to my mailbox and look for a check in there because I did such a great job. I was like, y'all should probably keep paying me. But it didn't work like that. But here for with Legal Shield, I still been getting paid for memberships that me and my team signed up 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. That book of business follows you guys. That's what I love about this. This could be your retirement plan. This could be a tuition fund for your kids. This could be a security net. Right. And so you also get bonuses. So when you decide to get started with this, you're a brand new associate. You get paid $80 every time you personally protect a customer. We call them members. Okay. And after you protect just three members, and one of those three members decides to join your team, you get a raise. You take a promotion. You're now a senior associate getting paid $100 for the very thing you were once getting paid $80 for. As long as you do that in your first 20 days, by the way, right? Your three members and one recruit, you'll get a bonus of $200. This is all based on our family plan, by the way, the preferred legal plus the family identity theft plan. Now, if you marketed something less, you get paid a little less. If you marketed something more, you get paid a little more. But based on this plan, these are the numbers. After you bring on a couple more business partners, so a total of three, and you cumulatively have $300 in sales between you and the three people. So that's about maybe 4 to 7 membership sales between you and your team. You become a manager. As long as you do that in your first 45 days, you'll get a additional bonus of $500. So the company is incentivizing you to move faster rather than slower, but it's up to you. It's your business. No maximums here, no minimums, no quotas. It's your business. Work your way all the way to executive director where you earn 416 every time you personally protect a member. So when that happened for me, I was still working 60 to 70 hours a week at my job. But I could actually send someone to a presentation, and in a 15, 20-minute presentation, if they like what they saw, I could have been at work while they were watching. They go on my website, sign up. I got paid sometimes more than I made all day at my job. Now you have access to that as well. What if you protected 10 members as an executive director? That's $4,000. What if you did that in a month? What could an extra 4,000 in a month do for you right now? Extra on top of what you already have going on. What could it do if you did that in a week, in a day? It's your business. But you also earn overrides. Let's say that Charles is a brand new manager. I'm picking on him because he's on my screen here and he's been giving me some pretty good energy during this presentation. I appreciate you, brother. So what if he was a manager and he decided to share this with me because we used to work together, right? He's like, hey man, you always have come off as a really sharp individual to me, and I'm not sure if you're open-minded to opportunities, but I'm working on a project I would love to share with you. Would you take a look if I sent you some information? I say sure. So Charles sends me a video that does this presentation. I take a look in my time, right? I get back with Charles. I say, man, this just makes sense. I got a lot of traffic tickets, so I need the services anyway. As a manager, he earns $132 when I get protected with the services. But then I join his team and I go out and protect my mom with the service because my mom needs to get her will done. She's happy because she's getting her will done without paying $1,000 to do so. I'm happy because I just made $80 for doing something I would have done for free, which is help my mom. But Charles is even more excited. Why? Because he earned the difference between his level as a manager, 132, Edmund Hunter's level as an associate, 80. That's $52 for work he didn't do. And he doesn't know my mom. He's like, go, Edmund, go. Right? What if I go out and I protect 10 members? I make 80 times 10, that's 800, but he just earned 52 times the 10 people Edmund Hunter protected. It's $520 for work he didn't do and people he didn't know. Remember, I told you that I was going to dispel that whole thing where people think, oh, this sounds like one of those pyramid things where the person at the top makes all the money. No, Charles was above me. I was below him, but I got paid more than him. And Charles wasn't mad at me for getting paid more than him because it was work he didn't have to do. He was at work. He was with his family. He was at his kid's basketball game or a recital, right? Like that's what he was doing. He was enjoying life, but still earning income from the efforts of someone else. And I wasn't mad because his money didn't come out of mine. It's the best way to earn income is with people, not off of people. From their successes, never from their failures. From lifting them up, not keeping them down. See, at my job, my boss never wanted to teach me everything he knew because I could then eventually take his job and the company probably would have paid me less to do it. But here we want to teach you everything we know, share with you the best practices so you could have even more success than the person that introduced you. Okay. So here's where I start to wrap up. When you're consistent with us, you can earn all inclusive incentive trips, right? They're called the Performance Club, where so far the company has sent me and my family to Atlantis, Bahamas, Cabo San Lucas, Riviera Maya twice, Universal Studios, Maui, Hawaii, Jamaica, all expenses paid through the company. They pay for the airfare, the resorts, the food, the beverages, all expenses, guys, for you and a guest. I used to be so afraid to travel because the turbulence on the plane used to make my stomach sink. And I was just like, oh, I fear traveling. But now that the company sends me on trips for free, like I can't complain about traveling when it's free. You know what I'm saying? The turbulence on the plane feels like a massage now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's free. When you start to protect 3 to 4 members every single month, you'll also earn bonuses up to $500 on top of everything else that I share. We're not saying 3 to 4 a day, 3 to 4 a week, 3 to 4 a month. So we're going to teach you how to be average and still earn incredible income. The best part about all of this is to get started. It's only a one-time investment of $99. That's it. To start your very own business. All my business owners on here, you're probably like, how? Right? Because your website is probably more than $99 a month, right? The overhead, the salaries for your employees, all of that is more than that, right? And so here, from a $99 investment, it's allowed me and my family to do things I never thought I was going to be able to do without playing professional basketball, right? To be able to take care of my parents' bills, to be present for my children, right? To be able to work from home so that I can be a present father. Whatever it is that you want for yourself, guys, is your family worth a $99 investment? If it was $999, if it was $9,000, I could see you guys saying, like, hold on, let me think about it. I might have to put it on a credit card. How many memberships would I have to sell to get my money back? But guys, don't ask yourself, what if this doesn't work? Ask yourself, what if Edmund is right? What if it does work? I then have the independence to work from anywhere, the flexibility to set my own hours, the opportunity to earn linear income, leveraged income, residual income, to be paid daily. Since we get paid or have bills every day, shouldn't we get paid every day as well if it's possible, right? Legal Shield does that for you. You have a success system, meaning you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We know that this has been working for the last 53 years. Our team alone has over 150 people that are earning anywhere from 50,000 to $3 million. Guys, once again, not impressing, trying to impress you, but to share with you that you can be a part of a system that we know is already creating success while we help people. You get to align with a personal mentor. Someone that's already been successful is going to work directly with you. The only ongoing expense you have is called Social Advantage. It gives you a website, a CRM tool, video hosting, a back office that tracks all your statistics, everything you need to be able to build your business. And as I said, 24.95 a month, but we give it to you for free for your first 30 days because we want your business overhead to come out of your profits rather than your pockets. So here's your action steps, family. Number one, become a member. If you saw value in the services, text the person that invited you out that you're number one, right? You see value in the services. They'll send you their referral link. It takes about 3 minutes to get enrolled. Welcome to the Legal Shield and ID Shield family. If you're a number two, text the person that invited you, you're a number two. That simply means that you're ready to get started. You're like, Mr. Hunter, you could have stopped a long time ago. This makes sense to me. Right? I'm all in. So we want to work directly with you. We want to share with you the best practices and help you to launch your business so you can start achieving whatever your goals may be. Lastly, if you're number three, that means that you have questions, and that's fair. We want to make sure that we get those questions answered so that you can make a well-informed and educated decision for yourself and for your family. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you all hanging tight. I know that it took me a couple minutes to jump on Zoom with you all, but I hope that it was worth it. I hope you got value out of it. Please, please, please just get back with the person that invited you out. Let them, share with you the next steps. Let them help you out in creating that decision that is best for you and your family, whether it's for you or it's not for you. It's okay. We just want to make sure that you're fully informed because the best decisions are made with all of the facts. So with that being said, guys, you all take care, take charge, have a blessed evening on purpose, and I'll see you on the next presentation.
Recording.